Welcome back to the reading of the Holy Bible. We are still in Exodus this week. This week we'll be reading chapters 31 through 36. Pardon me. Chapter 31. Workers called to make the tabernacle. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Behold, I have called by name Bealseel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And I have filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom and understanding, and knowledge in all manner of work, to devise whatsoever may be artificially made of gold and silver and brass, of marble and precious stones and variety of wood. And I have given him for his companion Eliab, the son of Achisamach, of the tribe of Dan. And I have put wisdom in the heart of every skillful man, that they may have all things which I have commanded thee. The tabernacle of the covenant, and the ark of the testimony, and the propitiatory that is over it, and all the vessels of the tabernacle, and the table and the vessels thereof, the most pure candlestick with the vessels thereof, and the altars of incense and of holocaust, and all their vessels, the laver with its foot to the holy vestments, and the ministry for Aaron the priest, and for his sons, that they may execute their office about the sacred things, the oil of unction, and the incense of spices in the sanctuary. All things which I have commanded thee shall they make. Law of the Sabbath repeated. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, and thou shalt say to them, See that thou keep my Sabbath, because it is a sign between me and you and your generations, that you may know that I am the Lord, who sanctify you. Keep you my Sabbath, for it is holy unto you. He that shall profane it shall be put to death. He that shall do any work in it, his soul shall perish out of the midst of his people. 6 days shall you do work, and the seventh day is the Sabbath, the rest holy of the Lord. Everyone that shall do any work on this day shall die. Let the children of Israel keep the Sabbath and celebrate it in their generations. It is an everlasting covenant between me and the children of Israel, and a perpetual sign. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and in the seventh he ceased from work. The stone tables of testimony. And the Lord, when he had ended these words in Mount Sinai, gave to Moses 2 stone tables of testimony, written with the finger of God. Chapter 32. Aaron makes a molten calf. And the people, seeing that Moses delayed to come down from the mount, gathering together against Aaron, said, Arise, make us gods that may go before us. For as to this Moses, the man that brought us out of the land of Egypt, we know not what has befallen him. And Aaron said to them, Take the golden earrings from the ears of your wives and your sons and daughters, and bring them to me. And the people did what he had commanded, bringing the earrings to Aaron. And when he had received them, he fashioned them by founders' work, and made of them a molten calf. And they said, These are thy gods, O Israel, that have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. And when Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it, and made proclamation by a crier's voice, saying, Tomorrow is the solemnity of the Lord. And rising in the morning, they offered holocaust and peace victims, and the people sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. God sees the idolatry of the people. And the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Go, get thee down. Thy people which thou hast brought out of the land of Egypt hath sinned. They have quickly strayed from the way which thou didst show them, and they have made to themselves a molten calf, and have adored it, and sacrificing victims to it have said, These are thy gods, O Israel, that have brought thee out of the land of Egypt. And again the Lord said to Moses, See that this people is stiff-necked. Let me alone, that my wrath may be kindled against them, and that I may destroy them, and I will make of thee a great nation. Moses intercedes with God. But Moses besought the Lord his God, saying, Why, O Lord, is thy indignation enkindled against thy people, whom thou hast brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and with a mighty hand? Let not the Egyptians say, I beseech thee. He craftily brought them out, that he might kill them in the mountains and destroy them from the earth. Let thy anger cease, and be appeased upon the wickedness of thy people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, thy servants, to whom thou swarest by thy own self, saying, I will multiply your seed as the stars of heaven, and this whole land that I have spoken of I will give to your seed, and you shall possess it forever. And the Lord was appeased from doing the evil which he had spoken against his people. Moses returns from the mount. And Moses returned from the mount, carrying the 2 tables of the testimony in his hand, written on both sides, and made by the work of God. The writing also of God was graven in the tables. And Joshua, hearing the noise of the people, shouting, said to Moses, the noise of battle is heard in the camp. But he answered, It is not the cry of men encouraging to fight, nor the shout of men compelling to flee, but I hear the voice of singers. Moses breaks the tables and destroys the idol. And when he came nigh to the camp, he saw the calf and the dances, and being very angry, he threw the tables out of his hand and broke them at the foot of the mount. And laying hold of the calf which they had made, he burnt it and beat it to powder, which he strode into water and gave thereof to the children of Israel to drink. And he said to Aaron, What has this people done to thee, that thou shouldst bring upon them a most heinous sin? And he answered him, Let not my Lord be offended, for thou knowest this people, that they are prone to evil. They said to me, Make us gods that may go before us, for as to this Moses, who brought us forth out of the land of Egypt, we know not what is befallen him. And I said to him, Which of you hath any gold? And they took and brought it to me, and I cast it into the fire, and this calf came out. Many adulterers are slain. And when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had stripped them by occasion of the shame of the filth, and had set them naked among their enemies. Naked, an example, having lost not only their gold and their honor, but was worst of all, being stripped also of the grace of God, and having lost him. The shame of the filth, an example of the idol which they had taken for their God. It is the usual phrase of the Scriptures to call idols filth and abominations. Then, standing in the gate of the camp, he said, If any man be on the Lord's side, let him join with me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him, and he said to them, Thus saith the Lord God of Israel, Put every man his sword upon his thigh, go and return from gate to gate through the midst of the camp. Let every man kill his brother and friend and neighbor. And the sons of Levi did according to the words of Moses. And there were slain that day about 23,000 men. And Moses said, You have consecrated your hands this day to the Lord, every man in his son and in his brother, that a blessing may be given to you. Moses prays for the people. And when the next day was come, Moses spoke to the people. You have sinned a very great sin. I will go up to the Lord, if by any means I may be able to entreat him for your crime. And returning to the Lord, he said, I beseech thee, this people hath sinned a heinous sin, and they have made to themselves gods of gold. Either forgive them this trespass, or if thou do not, strike me out of the book that thou hast written. The Lord tells Moses to lead the people into their new land. The Lord answered him, He that hath sinned against me, him will I strike out of my book. But go thou, and lead this people whither I have told thee. My angel shall go before thee, and I, in the day of revenge, will visit this sin also of theirs. The Lord therefore struck the people for the guilt on occasion of the calf which Aaron had made. Chapter 33. God threatens to withdraw his grace. The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Go, get thee up from this place, thou and thy people, which thou hast brought out of the land of Egypt, into the land concerning which I swore to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, To thy seed I will give it, and I will send an angel before thee, that I may cast out the Canaanite, and the Amorite, and the Hethite, and the Pharisite, and the Hethite, and the Pharisite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite, that thou mayest enter into the land that floweth with milk and honey. For I will not go up with thee, because thou art a stiff-necked people, lest I destroy thee in the way. The people mourned for their sin. And the people, hearing these very bad tidings, mourned, and no man put on his ornaments according to custom. And the Lord said to Moses, Say to the children of Israel, Thou art a stiff-necked people. Once I shall come up in the midst of thee, and shall destroy thee. Now presently lay aside thy ornaments, that I may know what to do to thee. So the children of Israel lay aside their ornaments by Mount Horeb. Moses places the tabernacle outside the camp. Moses, also taking the tabernacle, pitched it without the camp afar off, and called the name thereof the tabernacle of the covenant. All the people that had any question went forth to the tabernacle of the covenant without the camp. And when Moses went forth to the tabernacle, all the people rose up, and every one stood in the door of his pavilion. And they beheld the back of Moses till he went into the tabernacle. The Lord talks familiarly with Moses, and when he was gone to the tabernacle of the covenant, the pillar of the cloud came down and stood at the door, and he spoke with Moses. And all saw that the pillar of the cloud stood at the door of the tabernacle, and they stood and worshipped at the doors of their tents. And the Lord spoke to Moses face to face, as a man is wont to speak to his friend. And when he returned into the camp, his servant Joshua, the son of Nun, a young man, departed not from the tabernacle. face to face, an example, in a most familiar manner. However, Moses could not see the face of the Lord. Moses asked to see God's glory. And Moses said to the Lord, Thou commandest me to lead forth this people, and thou dost not let me know whom thou wilt send with me, especially whereas thou hast said, I know thee by name, and thou hast found favor in thy sight. I know thee by name. In the language of the Scriptures, God is said to know such as he approves and loves, and to know by name those whom he favors in a most singular matter, as he did his servant Moses. If therefore I have found favor in thy sight, show me thy Show me thy face, that I may know thee and may find grace before thy eyes. Look upon thy people, this nation. And the Lord said, My face shall go before thee, and I will give thee rest. And Moses said, If thou thyself dost not go before, bring us not out of this place. For how shall we be able to know, I and thy people, that we have found grace in thy sight, unless thou walk with us, that we may be glorified by all people that dwell upon the earth? And the Lord said to Moses, This word also, which thou hast spoken, will I do. For thou hast found grace before me, and thee I have known by name. And he said, Show me thy glory. He answered, I will show thee all good, and I will proclaim in the name of the Lord before thee, and I will have mercy on whom I will, and I will be merciful to whom it shall please me. And again he said, Thou canst not see my face, for a man shall not see me and live. And again he said, Behold, there is a place with me, and thou shalt stand upon the rock. And when my glory shall pass, I will set thee in a hole of the rock, and protect thee with my right hand till I pass. And I will take away my hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face thou canst not see. See my back parts. The Lord, by his angel, usually spoke to Moses in the pillar of the cloud, so that he could not see the glory of him that spoke familiarly with him. In the vision here mentioned, he was allowed to see something of him, an assumed corporal form, not in the face, the rays of which were too bright for mortal eyes to bear, but to view him, as it were behind, an example, when his face was turned from him. Chapter 34. Moses renews the tables. And after this he said, Hew thee 2 tables of stone like unto the former, and I will write upon them the words which were in the tables which thou brokest. Be ready in the morning, that thou mayest forthwith go up into Mount Sinai, and thou shalt stand with me upon the top of the mount. Let no man go up with thee, and let not any man be seen throughout all the mount. Neither let the oxen nor the sheep feed over against it. Then he cut out 2 tables of stone, such as he had been before. And rising very, very early, he went up into the Mount Sinai, as the Lord had commanded him, carrying him across the tables. Moses asked God to forgive the people. And when the Lord was coming down in a cloud, Moses stood with him, calling upon the name of the Lord. And when he passed before him, he said, O the Lord God, merciful and gracious, patient and of much compassion and true, who keepest mercy unto thousands, who takest away iniquity and wickedness and sin, and no man of himself is innocent before thee, who renderest the iniquity of the fathers to the children and to the grandchildren, unto the 3rd and 4th generation. And Moses, making haste, bowed down prostrate unto the earth, and adoring, said, If I have found grace in thy sight, O Lord, I beseech thee, that thou wilt go with us, for it is a stiff-necked people, and take away our iniquities and sin, and possess us. Friendship with idolaters forbidden. The Lord answered, I will make a covenant in the sight of all. I will do signs such as were never seen upon the earth, nor in any nations, that this people, in the midst of whom thou art, may see the terrible work of the Lord, which I will do. Observe all things which this day I command thee. I myself will drive out before thy face the Amorithite, and the Canaanite, and the Hethite, and the Pharisite, and the Hethite, and the Pharisite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Beware, thou never join in friendship with thy inhabitants of that land, which may be thy ruin, but destroy their altars, break their statues, and cut down their groves. Adore not any strange god. The Lord, his name, is jealous. He is a jealous God. Make no covenant with the men of those countries, lest, when they have committed fornication with their gods and have adored their idols, someone call thee to eat of the things sacrificed. Neither shalt thou take of their daughters a wife for thy son, lest after they themselves have committed fornication, they make thy sons also to commit fornication with their gods. Thou shalt not make to thyself any molten gods. Feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt keep the feast of the unleavened bread. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, as I commanded thee, in the time of the month of the new corn. For in the month of the springtime thou camest out from Egypt. Law of firstborn males. And all the male kind that openeth the womb shall be mine. Of all beasts, both of oxen and of sheep, it shall be mine. The firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a sheep, but if thou wilt not give a price for it, it shall be slain. The firstborn of thy sons thou shalt redeem, neither shalt thou appear before me empty. Sabbath day and feast. 6 days shalt thou work. The 7th day thou shalt cease to plow and to reap. Thou shalt keep the feast of weeks with the first fruits of the corn of thy wheat harvest, and the feast when the time of the year returneth that all things are laden. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear in the sight of the Almighty Lord, the God of Israel. For when I shall have taken away the nations from thy face, and shall have enlarged thy borders, no man shall lie in wait against thy land when thou shalt go up and appear in the sight of the Lord thy God thrice in a year. Thou shalt not offer the blood of my sacrifice upon leaven, neither shall there remain in the morning anything of the victim of the solemnity of the feast. The first of the fruits of thy ground thou shalt offer in the house of the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not boil a kid in the milk of his dam. The tables are rewritten. And the Lord said to Moses, Write thee these words by which I have made a covenant both with thee and with Israel. And he was with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. He neither ate bread nor drank water. He wrote upon the tables the 10 words of the covenant. Moses' face is horned with rays of light, and when Moses came down from the Mount Sinai, he held the 2 tables of the testimony, and he knew that his face was horned from the conversation of the Lord. And Aaron and the children of Israel, seeing the face of Moses horned, were afraid to come near. And being called by him, they returned, both Aaron and the rulers of the congregation. And after that he spoke to them, and all the children of Israel came to him, and he gave them in commandment all that he had heard of the Lord in Mount Sinai. And having done speaking, he put a veil upon his face. But when he went into the Lord and spoke with him, he took it away until he came forth, and then he spoke to the children of Israel all things that had been commanded him. And they saw that the face of Moses, when he came out, was horned, but he covered his face again, if at any time he spoke to them. Horn, an example, shining and sending forth rays of light like horns. Chapter 35, the Sabbath. And all the multitude of the children of Israel, being gathered together, he said to them, These are the things which the Lord hath commanded to be done. 6 days you shall do work, the 7th day shall be holy unto you. The Sabbath and the rest of the Lord, he that shall do any work on it shall be put to death. You shall kindle no fire in any of your habitations on the Sabbath day. Offerings for making tabernacle. And Moses said, To all the assembly of the children of Israel, this is the word the Lord hath commanded, saying, Set aside with you first fruits to the Lord. Let every one that is willing and hath a ready heart offer them to the Lord, gold and silver and brass, violet and purple, and scarlet twice dyed, and fine linen, goat's hair, and ram's skins dyed red, and violet-colored skins, set in wood and oil to maintain lights and to make ointment, and most sweet incense, onyx stones and precious stones for the adorning of the ephod and the rationale. Skillful workers called to build the tabernacle. Whosoever of you is wise, let him come and make that which the Lord hath commanded, to wit, the tabernacle and the roof thereof, and the cover, the rings, and the board work with the bars, the pillars and the sockets, the ark and the staves, the preparatory and the veil that is drawn before it, the table with the bars, and the vessels and the loaves of proposition, the candlestick to bear up the lights, the vessels thereof, and the lamps, and the oil for the nourishing of fires, the altar of incense and the bars, and the oil of unction, and the incense of spices, the hanging at the door of the tabernacle, the altar of holocaust, and its grate of brass, with the bars and vessels thereof, the layer and its foot, the curtains of the court with the pillars and the sockets, the hanging in the doors of the entry, the pins of the tabernacle, and of the court with their little cords, the vestments that are to be used in the ministry of the sanctuary, the vesture of Aaron the high priest and of his sons, to do the office of priesthood to me. And all the multitude of the children of Israel gifts of the Lord, pardon me. And all the multitude of the children of Israel going out from the presence of Moses offered first fruits to the Lord, with a most ready and devout mind to make the work of the tabernacle of the testimony. Whatsoever was necessary to the service and to the holy vestments, both men and women gave bracelets and earrings, rings and tablets. Every vessel of gold was set aside to be offered to the Lord. If any man had violet and purple and scarlet twice dyed, fine linen and goat's hair, rams' skins dyed red, and violet-colored skins, middle of silver and brass, they offered it to the Lord, and set in wood for divers uses. The skillful women also gave such things as they had spun, violet, purple, and scarlet, and fine linen, and goat's hair, giving all of their own accord. But the princes offered onyx stones and precious stones for the ephod and the rational, and spices and oil for the lights, and for the preparing of ointment, and to make the incense of most sweet savor. All, both men and women, with devout mind, offered gifts, that the works might be done, which the Lord had commanded by the hand of Moses. All the children of Israel dedicated voluntary offerings to the Lord. Bealtiel and Oholiab called to the work. And Moses said to the children of Israel, Behold, the Lord hath called by name Bealtiel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and hath filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom and understanding and knowledge and all learning, to devise and to work in gold and silver and brass, and in graving stones and in carpenter's work. Whatsoever can be devised artificially he hath given in his heart. Oholiab also the son of Achisamach, the tribe of Dan. Both of them hath he instructed with wisdom to do carpenter's work and tapestry, and embroidery in blue and purple and scarlet twice dyed, and fine linen, and to weave all things and to invent all new things. Pardon me. Chapter 36. Offerings are delivered to the workmen. Bealtiel, therefore, and Oholiab, and every wise man to whom the Lord gave wisdom and understanding to know how to work artificially, made the things that are necessary for the uses of the sanctuary, in which the Lord commanded. And when Moses had called them, and every skillful man to whom the Lord had given wisdom, and such as of their own accord had offered themselves to the making of the work, he delivered all the offerings of the children of Israel unto them. And while they were earnest about the work, the people daily in the morning offered their vows. Whereupon the workmen, being constrained to come, said to Moses, The people offereth more than is necessary. Moses therefore commanded proclamation to be made by the crier's voice, Let neither man nor woman offer any more for the work of the sanctuary. And so they ceased from offering gifts, because the things that were offered did suffice, and were too much. 10 curtains. And all the men that were wise of heart, to accomplish the work of the tabernacle, made 10 curtains of twisted fine linen, in violet and purple and scarlet twice dyed, with varied work and the art of embroidering. The length of one curtain was 28 cubits, and the breadth 4. All the curtains were at the same size, and he joined 5 curtains one to another, and the other 5 he coupled one to another. He made also loops of violet in the edge of one curtain on both sides, and in the edge of the other curtain in like manner, that the loops might meet one against another, and might be joined each with the other. Whereupon also he cast 50 rings of gold, that might catch the loops of the curtains, and they might be made one tabernacle. Coverings for the tabernacle. He made also 11 curtains of goat's hair, to cover the roof of the tabernacle. One curtain was 30 cubits long, and 4 cubits broad. All the curtains were of one measure, 5 of which he joined apart, and the other 6 apart. And he made 50 loops in the edge of one curtain, and 50 in the edge of another curtain, that they might be joined one to another, and 50 buckles of brass, wherewith the roof might be knit together, that of all the curtains there might be made one covering. He made also a cover for the tabernacle of ram skins dyed red, and another cover that of violet skins. Boards of the tabernacle. He made also the boards of the tabernacle of sedum wood standing. The length of one board was 10 cubits, and the breadth was 1 cubit and a half. There were 2 mortices throughout every board, that one might be joined to the other. And in this manner he made for all the boards of the tabernacle, of which 20 were at the south side southward, with 40 sockets of silver. 2 sockets were put under one board on the 2 sides of the corners, where the mortices of the sides end in the corners. At that side also was of the tabernacle that looketh toward the north. He made 20 boards, with 4 sockets of silver, 2 sockets for every board. But against the west, to wit, at that side of the tabernacle which looketh to the sea, he made 6 boards, and 2 others at which corner of the tabernacle behind, which were also joined from beneath unto the top, and went together into one joint. Thus he did on both sides of the corners, so there were in all 8 boards, and they had 16 sockets of silver, to wit, 2 sockets under every board. Bars for the boards of the tabernacle. He made also bars of shittim wood, 5 to hold together the boards of one side of the tabernacle, and 5 others to join together the boards of the other side, and besides these, 5 other bars of the west side of the tabernacle towards the sea. He made also another bar, that might come by the midst of the boards from corner to corner, and the boards were themselves he overlaid with gold, casting for them sockets of silver, and their rings he made of gold, through which the bars might be drawn, and he covered the bars themselves with plates of gold, the veil. He made also a veil of violet and purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen, varied and distinguished with embroidery, and 4 pillars of shittim wood, which with their heads he overlaid with gold, casting for them sockets of silver, hanging for the door of the tabernacle. He made also a hanging in the entry of the tabernacle of violet, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen, with the work of an embroiderer, and 5 pillars with their heads, which he covered with gold, and their sockets he cast of brass. And that was chapter 31 through 36 of the Holy Bible. Next week we'll be reading chapters 37 through 40, and we will happening to be finishing Exodus. After that, we typically would be moving on to, I believe it is Numbers after Exodus, if I'm remembering correctly. It might be Deuteronomy. I think I'm getting my... Oh, it's Leviticus. I am definitely getting them mistaken, is the word I'm looking for. Then it's Numbers. And then it's Deuteronomy. Okay, so I was just getting them confused. However, since next week it'll be the week before Advent, and then after that it will be Advent, we will actually, after we finish Exodus, be moving on to the Gospels, at least initial. For that bit, I was going to say. Well, that doesn't make sense. We'll obviously be moving on to the first Gospel, which would happen to be the Gospel of Matthew. So, we'll be doing that to celebrate Jesus Christ's birth during the season of Advent. And that will be something we're looking forward to. While obviously all of it is God's Word, it'll be interesting to see how some of that, as we've been going through the Old Testament, how some of that has been fulfilled already in the New Testament. So, thank you very much for watching. You make sure that you all have a great week, and God bless.